There are many more modern tales of the powers of the Vortexes.
Oh, my exes at Vortexes. Okay.
Welcome to the edge of nowhere.
They're playing games at the edges of what we know.
Monster Lore Tour Podcast. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this 67th episode of the Monster Lore Tour Paranormal Deep Dives from the Edge of Nowhere podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Carr, here along with my co-host and the prefect to my Bibelbrox, Mr. Matt Ozero, a.k.a. the Moz. How we doing today, Moz?
I think Zaf Moz would be fine.
Zaf Moz.
It's just a, yeah.
Bibelbrox. Jeremy Brox.
Why can't we get away from Douglas Adams ever?
Yeah.
Why is he haunting us during these podcasts?
I was thinking you were going to ask me why not the prefect to my Arthur Dent.
Bibelbrox, I think we can all relate to on some level, but I guess Arthur Dent is the other one that we could relate to. I mean, we're more a combination of those two, most of the people on our crew.
Yeah. Do you know why I couldn't use Arthur Dent, though?
Why?
Because there's only one Arthur Dent.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
Right. Yeah. There's plenty of everybody else. There's only one Arthur Dent. Anywho, you got some old business for me before we get going, Moss?
Well, I just want to tell really quick. I know we just finished up the owl thing, and I was hoping when we finished recording that we would have a owl symphony outside, and they would all show up to sit there, express their appreciation in my neighborhood. Did not happen. You were here. We did not hear a hoot one, I don't think. Right? I don't think so.
I don't think so, no.
Yeah. And when we finished the editing, though, for the last day, I texted you right away and said when I walked outside to go for a walk, there were like 3 or 4. Yeah. I think 4.
We finished the edit remotely, so I wasn't with you.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the show.
I walked out, and it was again back to this. I didn't see any of them this time, but they were just all around. Like, okay, cool, man. Like giving them the thumbs
giving
up.
You the symphony.
Maybe. So
the real thing is learning how to hold the wand.
Yeah.
Be the conductor rather than just the audience.
Ooh.
That's what you got to figure out right there.
Is that like you Richard Baching me again kind of thing?
Maybe a little. That wasn't my direct intent, but maybe a little bit. Yeah. But we're done with owls for now, Moz.
I have more to say.
We will get to it when it's your turn.
And the owl Wendigo connection's much deeper than I thought. And
that's cool.
We'll get to that. I mentioned it, but now when we get to Wendigo, we'll go back to owls a little bit.
There you go.
Yep.
I'm sure they'll be popping up all over the place as we move along.
And the digestive system of the owl. No, I'm just kidding. No. we were moving past that.
The way the bones go through, it's pretty weird, actually. But anywho, before we get going, if you could all out there listening, just take a quick second to hit any of those happy little fun buttons you haven't hit yet on the platform, the like and the subscribe and the share with your friends and things like that. Maybe leave us a rating, review. Check out our Patreon at patreon.com/monsterloretour. It's just $1 a month to get early access to all this stuff. But let's get into today's episode. For today's episode, I'm going to actually put on a hat I haven't worn in a while, that of local Northern Arizona tour guide.
I remember those days.
Yeah. I was a full-on professional tour guide for a while up around here.
A couple of those as
You were one of my guinea pigs when I was putting my tour schedule together.
Yeah. Correct.
You and Alex Bone both. Yeah.
Nice.
And that I decided to lock myself inside and do a podcast now instead.
There you go.
Yeah, as those who know me know, in the before time, I worked as a tour guide in the Flagstaff, Grand Canyon, and Sedona area. Of course, the main focus of the Sedona tours was pretty much always the Vortex sites. So I do have some interesting bits to share on that topic, as we will be talking about the Sedona Vortexes and specifically Bradshaw Ranch just outside of Sedona today. But first, because I know it makes Maz happy, I would like to open with a mood-setting quote. This is a passage from Thomas H. Huxley. The known is finite, the unknown infinite. Intellectually, we stand on an islet in the midst of an illimitable ocean of inexplicability. Our business in every generation is to reclaim a little more land.
Couldn't find an Aldous Huxley quote, could you?
No, I think this is his like a not quite so prolific cousin, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't even know.
Yeah. Well, Tom, there are two Huxleys. So.
Yeah. Stole that quote from the book Merging Dimensions, The Incredible Saga of the Bradshaw Ranch by Linda Bradshaw of the Bradshaw Ranch Bradshaws, and Tom Dongo, who was a local paranormal investigator from the area, which was my main source of research for this episode.
So she couldn't find a good Aldous Huxley quote. She found only a Thomas Huxley quote.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's a very fitting quote.
Yeah, no, I'm not
both
arguing.
for this podcast and for the book, which is why I used it here as well. But a quick shout out. This episode came to me very randomly. I'm going to give a quick shout out to Kelly for giving me a copy of that book, The Merging Dimensions, after a very informative Uber ride. She saw my little advertisement I have in the car for the podcast and started telling me about Bradshaw Ranch, which it's the only reason I even know about this stuff to write this episode. So I'm going to drop a very early Mad Cujos on this one. And Kelly, if you're listening, Mad Cujos to you.
Woohoo.
Down boy!
Did she give a tip on top of the book, or was the book?
She gave me a really good tip.
Wow.
Flagstaff, dude. Like,
Yeah.
you know the locals.
Yeah.
You know, I can tell when I pick up a long-time local.
There you
It's
go.
always a great ride.
Nice.
And I've heard some really cool stories from people up around there just because I have the little ad for the podcast up on the back of my headrests.
And
for
when she
people to
got
see.
out of the Uber, did she just like, it was a flash of light and she was gone through a portal? Is that what happened?
She did have to walk inside to get the book and walk back to the car. So, you know, that might have just been putting on a show for my purpose, though. You know what I
She
mean?
thought about doing the alien download with you, and she's like, yeah, I should just give him the hard copy that's for this guy.
You know, and I've been a taxi driver so long, it's like hardcore ingrained in me that I don't ask personal questions of people and stuff.
No, I got you.
Like whatever they offer, I'm down for talking about.
Right.
But I didn't want to ask her if she was related or
Yeah,
like
no, I
how
get you.
why she has a copy of the book to just hand me and stuff.
Yep.
But if I see her again, I'm going to let her know this episode exists, and then maybe we can get into a deeper conversation about it. She might know more about it than I even realized.
There you go.
Now let's start with a look at Sedona, Arizona. It is a place known throughout the world for its stunningly and uniquely beautiful landscape, but it is not only the visual beauty of the place that draws crowds from all over the planet. It seems there is something even more powerful about the place beyond the direct perceptions of the humans who come here. And the legend of this power seems to be as old as the first ones who came to know the place. I speak, of course, of the lore and legend of Sedona Vortexes. I do have a lot of personal experience from my time there, and I've gathered a lot of the local lore, stories, information from people around, and just my own experiences during my years as a tour guide. But we're actually, because of the length of this episode, it got away from me a little bit. We're actually going to do our kind of us-filey stuff in the side trail.
Oh.
No.
Do you only have one Vortex story?
Personally?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so do I. And
You're right.
we were right next to
I have
each other.
been told some others by people like secondhand accounts is what you're going to get
Yeah.
on those. But yes, Maz and I actually share
Yeah.
a vortex thing.
It was strange.
Maybe that's why we're doing this podcast now.
Maybe. That happened then. It was a download. This is all a download from that moment.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Oh, my exes are
Wow.
in Vortex.
Oh my goodness. That was a long time ago.
No, wait. All
I
my
was
exes
wondering why
are
I was
in
still hanging out
Vortexes.
with you. It's the Vortex's fault. That's
Yeah?
why I'm still here.
Yeah.
It all makes sense now.
We hated each other before that.
Anywho, let's get back on track here. For the uninitiated, let me first explain the concept of the vortex. What we speak of are energy vortexes. places where the Earth's energy flows at significantly increased rates compared to your average spot. So let's break that down. I have come to think of it in terms similar to that of a water system, or the Earth's water system. We find water moving in different ways, flowing in small trickles, raging and roaring rivers, seeping slowly from cracks in the ground, and stagnating in fetid swamps.
Sedona swamps?
No, not there. A little bit along the creek.
Is this ley liney? Is that where you're going for?
It is it's pretty ley liney, yeah. Now, just as the Earth's water system moves and flows around, constantly cycling itself around the globe.
And counterclockwise in Australia.
So does the Earth have an energy system that ebbs and flows and shrinks and grows from place to place. Most places, this energy has a soft, light, not readily noticeable flow. It's just kind of a static in the background sort of thing. Some places, it flows like a raging river. Some places, it stagnates and grows stale and fetid, all much like the water system.
You're talking about our friendship again.
That's where it gets fetid. But when it comes to the Sedona Vortex sites, these are places where the Earth's energy is either spouting like a geyser at Yellowstone or sucking in like the maelstrom into which Poe dreamed of descending. They are places of greatly increased energy flow where it is said great healings of physical and spiritual nature can occur. I have heard some such stories myself, but let's begin at the beginning. The oldest direct legends we have come from the Yavapai Indian tribe that was inhabiting the territory of what is now Sedona when the first European settlers arrived in the area. During this time, the tribes in the area were relatively friendly with each other. Not a lot of big disputes going on most of the time, with one notable exception, the Apache. The Apache were troublesome for all the other tribes in the area. All except for one. That, of course, being Muzz?
You only mentioned the Yavapai, so that's...
The Yavapai, that's right, the Yavapai. The Yavapai and the Apache were best friends, to the point that they became sister tribes and now share a reservation in northern Arizona.
Oh, bad.
The Yavapai Apache, they got the best casino in the state. Cliff Castle
Casino,
gets rated best like every year.
There you go.
When the other tribes in the area would ask the Yavapai what they did to make friends with the Apache and keep them from making trouble for them, the Yavapai would reply that it was not what they did, but where they lived that mattered. You see, the Yavapai inhabited this place because they knew of its power. They knew of the healing energies that flowed in certain places among the Red Rock hoodoos where a person could be healed of all their ills and worries. It was to these places that the Yavapai would bring the Apache when they came, and in these places there could be no trouble. They were places of peace where all could find the balance within themselves.
They call them gift shops now.
The legend actually says there's never been blood spilled on these sites, ever. Mm-hmm. Think about the history of man.
Yeah. Pretty good.
A place where there's never been war, there's never been bloodshed. Like, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
When asked how they came to learn of this power of the land, the Yavapai said they learned from the ones that came before them. That all who had inhabited this place knew of its power from the ones before.
Is that the Anasazi, you think?
That would be the Anasazi, most likely. The Sinagua and the Anasazi. And,
Sinagua were Walnut Canyon, Anasazi were.
Well, they're kind of, Sedona's kind of on the, it's in between. So there's probably
it's in between.
It's in between.
Yep.
It's like right at the base of the Mogollon Rim, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which the Mogollon Rim is really the natural boundary of things right there, and it's right at the base of it.
Yeah. That's the edge of the Colorado Plateau.
Right. It's in the shadow of the plateau, yeah.
So aren't we all?
Yep. There are many more modern tales of the powers of the vortexes, but like I said, we'll get more into that in the side trail, the things I've heard over the years. For now, let us stay big picture and look at the general power of the vortexes. Not all vortex sites are created equal. Some are more powerful than others, and a few go far beyond the powers of the typical vortex. Some hypothesize far, far beyond the typical vortex. Here is what Tom Dongo, renowned Arizona paranormal researcher, hypothesizes in the book Merging Dimensions, The Incredible Saga of Bradshaw Ranch, by Linda Bradshaw and Tom Dongo. You want to take this one for me, Moss?
After 10 years of almost full-time UFO and paranormal research here in Sedona, I have come to the conclusion that, along with the world-famous energy vortexes, there are also interdimensional portals in this area. These portals are windows, seem to be entry and exit points in other dimensions or universes or places that we at this point do not fully understand.
See where we're going already here, huh?
Yep.
But we do digress a little bit. Let's start with the basics. According to Sedona.net, the vortex sites in the Sedona area are 1. Bell Rock and Courthouse Butte area. 2. Cathedral Rock. The coolest hike you can do there, in my opinion. 3. Chapel of the Holy Cross. 4. Airport Mesa. That Airport Mesa loop is the best place to get pictures of Sedona from, by the way. And lastly, Boynton Canyon, which is going to come up a lot throughout this saga.
And a Rust file.
Other sources will add a few more to the list, with Red Rock Crossing, the top of Schnebley Hill, and West Fork Trail.
And Mooney's Irish Pub, you forgot, which is right off the interstate there.
The trailhead of West Fork Trail is actually the location of the first ever Sedona resort. Did you know that?
No, actually the last one's the ones Schnebley Hill obviously is the Pink Jeep Trail. It's the
Right.
rocky road back to 17. But Red Rock Crossing and West Fork Trail, the two I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, Red Rock Crossing is a very obscure one. You know West Fork Trail though, don't you? It's
I
like
don't.
it's halfway down Oak Creek Canyon Road. It's just a little bit. What is it? South of. I'm trying to remember where it is from Midgley Bridge. Little north of Midgley Bridge, I believe.
Gotcha. Like Junipine, there's that little lodge there.
Yeah, a little south of that.
Yep.
Not too far south of that.
Okay.
So these other three, the Red Rock Crossing, as I said, is pretty obscure. The other two people know about, but they don't really hear about the vortex sites there much. These are less accessible sites, notably less accessible than the initial list. So they aren't pushed so much to the tourist crowd, I think is what's going on. But there seem to be still other places in the Sedona area that get very thin at times as well. Here is more from Tom Dongo in Merging Dimensions to explain. In the Sedona area, indications are that there are several minor portals. One is near Rachel Point in Long Canyon. Another is near the top of Schnebley Hill. And 2 or more are in Boynton Canyon. We also seem to have 3 primary or major portals. One is in the general tract between Bell Rock and Verde Valley School, an area of about 10 square miles. Another portal is near the top of Secret Mountain, adjacent to the mouth of nearby Secret Canyon.
Which we can't tell you where it is, or we'd have to kill you.
The third primary... That's going to make a lot more sense later, actually. The third primary portal is between Red Canyon and Loy Butte, an area of approximately 3 square miles. Due to the presently small amount of human habitation in the Red Canyon/Loy Butte area, we have been able to concentrate study there without being bothered or distracted. We have precisely located the third portal. We know exactly where it is.
Dang.
Huh?
Yep.
Which brings me
Which
to
is on their land, obviously.
Well, this brings me to the primary focus of this episode. Yeah, a place known as Bradshaw Ranch. Bradshaw Ranch lays at the confluence of 3 canyons, one of which is Red Canyon, and is basically in the shadows of Loy Butte, right smack in the spot where this third portal has been located.
Nice.
What do you know about that?
Yeah, and it's a confluence again. It's like a cross
Of
canyon road.
3 canyons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I looked at it on the map and I saw them all and I was like, ooh.
If I was an old Dead Blues guy, I'd be excited.
Yeah, there you go. And as it turns out, Bradshaw Ranch, particularly back in the mid-1990s, is Arizona's hottest paranormal hotspot.
Does it have its own 1-800 number?
It should, honestly, after reading this book. And for a place with as much weirdness as Arizona can bring, pictures of thunderbirds, fire in the sky, alien abduction story, crystal skulls in Gray Mountain. Oh, I don't know if I've told that one yet. It's saying a lot, though, that, this is the hot spot for all this stuff.
But Fire in the Sky was further east.
Fire in the Sky was up on the rim way over, way east.
It
was out like a Strawberry kind of area.
Correct. He was like dropped off in Strawberry, picked up in Heber kind of thing.
Yeah.
I forget the exact.
But now, thanks to the work of the Bradshaw family and Mr. Dongo and his crew, we can tell you all about Arizona's thinnest place. The first thing I sought to do upon beginning my research for this episode was to locate Bradshaw Ranch on the map. The weirdness began immediately. It didn't seem to exist. The only link in internet searches that gives a distinct location is only partially accessible. You can see the headline, but when you click on it, it doesn't work. The link shows the latitude and longitude first, though, then the beginning of directions to the property. But when you click on the link, it says the page is corrupted by some sort of time anomaly.
So that's what it says? Time anomaly?
Well, it says I can't access it because my clock and calendar aren't set right.
Mm-hmm. I like
which it is.
You lost time.
And it says
you actually found it, and then they had to go back, and you lost time, and then your time was wrong.
Right. But it says that, and then it says if your clock and calendar are correct, it means that the time signature of the site is somehow corrupted.
Or they just paid Google to get off of Google Earth kind of thing because too many people were bugging them.
Oh, okay. Is that a thing?
I'm guessing. Or the aliens coordinated with Google.
It's weird because this should be like a really well-known and like a really deep paranormalists know about this place. And like there was going to be a movie and it's just not coming out. And like there's a lot of weirdness around this place just right off the bat, dude. Thankfully, that link showed the latitude and longitude of the place. So I was able to use that to locate it on the map. And it's right where it should be. You put those into any map app and when it comes up, you can see the little buildings and stuff. So you can tell you're in the right place. And this is right where it should be according to Tom Dongo's proposed location of the third major portal as well. Which brings us to the other half of Merging Dimensions, the part written by Linda Bradshaw of Bradshaw Ranch. It was Linda who first noticed the odd happenings around the ranch, and she got the whole family involved with the investigation, particularly her son Victor, who will come up a lot in this, and also brought in the local expert in Tom Dongo. The Bradshaws experienced a wide range of odd happenings through their years on the ranch. When taken as a whole, their experiences greatly resemble those of the inhabitants and researchers of Skin
Walker
Ranch in Utah. Just to give you an idea what we're getting into here. But let's get specific with Linda's accounts as she told them. It all began with a meteor shower.
Like the Blob and Day of the Triffids.
Right? It's like you're starting a horror movie. It all begins with a meteor shower.
It all begins with your panspermia episode.
It's the night of the comet.
Is that the 80s one that I hated?
I love that movie.
Oh my God.
It's so bad it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It all began with a meteor shower. One night, Linda stepped out to watch the sky during a meteor shower, and seeing a few shooting stars, she also saw a few that seemed to behave strangely, as though they were coming out of a canyon and moving upward rather than falling like the others. It wasn't enough to set off alarm bells, but it was enough to pique Linda's curiosity. The next night, Linda took her truck to a ridge overlooking the canyon from which she thought the odd upward falling meteors had come. It didn't take long for her efforts to pay off. At approximately 8:30 p.m., she witnessed multiple craft moving in and out of the canyon in ways that did not at all resemble the movements of typical aircraft. And they made all those maneuvers without making a sound. This was enough to set off those alarm bells we mentioned a moment ago. But before she was able to absorb the impact of witnessing these craft, another strangeness appeared before her. A 4-foot-wide orb of pulsing white light appeared outside her truck window, pulsing with the cadence of a beating heart. Linda sensed an intelligence to the orb. She felt eyes upon her. She knew she was being actively observed. This was enough to spook her, and she tore ass out of there, leaving nothing but a cloud of dust behind. But like a good researcher, Linda had brought her camera. This was the mid-1990s, so she was using old-school film, but the Bradshaws happened to be flush in quality camera equipment, and she had been snapping pictures of the crafts in the orb throughout the encounter. Excited to see what she had captured on film, she took the roll in to be developed the very next day. When they were ready, she picked them up and was all too anxious to see what she had captured. She pulled the pictures from their envelope, flipped past the pictures her husband had used at the beginning of the roll, and then nothing. And I don't mean blurry pictures, not blank pictures, just nothing.
It's those photomat people. They were always in league with the reptilians, in my opinion.
Well, here she did follow up, though. Returning to the photo counter, she asked the dude, what the hell was up, bro? Where are all my pictures at? She was told she had all the exposed frames that were on the roll to be developed. Linda was shown the negatives, and lo and behold, not only had the pictures not come out, but the frames hadn't been exposed. It was literally like the pictures had never been taken in the first place.
Dang. It's the photomat.
That's
people.
weirder than usual. Usually they're just, you can't tell what you're looking at. You know what I mean? But in this case, there was literally, it wasn't even like black frames.
Yeah.
They weren't blank. They weren't there.
As she started to take pictures from that night, it was as if that is where the roll ended.
Right. So this kicked off a years-long, daily, in-depth investigation of the odd happenings on and around Bradshaw Ranch over the coming years. There was a veritable plethora of paranormal occurrences recorded by the Bradshaws and Tom Dongo's crew. Let's start with the Orbs, about which we are already talking, and go from there. For months on end, Linda and her son, who became her primary investigative assistant, witnessed odd orbs floating around the ranch. These strange lights ranged from 2 to 6 feet in diameter and were seen much better by the cameras than by their human eyes. Generally, they found the orbs not at all threatening, and if anything, they sensed a curious observer-type energy from them.
Yeah.
Like they were looking at them the same way they were looking at the people the same way the people are looking at them. Like, what the hell am I looking at right now? Occasionally, they would see the upside-down meteor thing, fast and streaky type ones from which they sensed a bit of tension, but generally the orbs were a welcome oddity to the flowering paranerdalists. It should be noted that, regardless of the friendly feel of the things, these orbs had a tendency to flash drain the batteries of any electric equipment they came in range of.
Very common.
A bunch of those stories in the book.
Yeah.
That's another reason why they don't have better pictures of a lot of this stuff is they got it all charged up. They go out and they take 2 pictures and the battery's dead.
Yeah. I've been there.
Yeah. But they did still get a ton of pictures with rather impressive orb images in them. I'm actually going to show you a couple here in the book, Moz. First, I'm going to show you this one on this page here. And I will have you describe what you see there.
Well, what's different about these is normally they're just white.
Yeah.
I try to pick out a speck of dust that I want to capture, and then I take a picture of it.
And it's always white.
It's always white.
What color are those
These
orbs?
are purple, and they've got some grays and some blues, and it's definitely a little periwinkle going on there.
There you go. And how many orbs do you count in the picture?
Well, there's 4 in one, and then there's one big blue one in the bottom picture.
There you go.
And they did try to accessorize with the little house. They seemed to kind of match most of them.
Let me show you this other one. Kind of show you how there is a variety. This is a close-up of one of the big ones.
Yeah, it's a crazy orb.
See, that's
a crazy orb.
It's very blue, and it's like kind of got like almost like a TV static look to it, right?
Yeah,
like a static transmission sort of look to it, all speckly like that.
There's nothing you could, a lot of them you can write up for dust orbs. This is not that. This is a very...
There you go. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Very obviously not a dust thing, not a particle of dust.
Yeah.
I mean, this almost looks like some kind of crazy moon. I'll definitely put this picture in the show notes. I'm not sure how many of these I can use, but this one I'll definitely put in.
Cool.
And then there is actually another one that really stands out as being distinctly and oddly shaped. And I don't know, it's a shape that seems reminiscent of some things. So I'm going to show you one more picture, Moz, and see if you can describe what you're seeing here. The bottom picture right there. You see that thing?
This one's starting to look like it has little nubs at the bottom, or more of a craft, or more of a tic-tac, or more of an oval shape, or more of a rocket.
Yeah,
but it
rockety.
also has, it could be something that's starting to show legs.
Oh, that's interesting.
And,
It kind of has a bell shape for the top part.
Yeah, it's like
it's like a bell with a bulge coming out the bottom.
It's like the
Acorn. There you go.
Kecksburg bell there.
Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So they definitely captured a range of different shiny things floating around the ranch, and different sized orbs, different shaped and colored orbs.
The Bradshaw Ranch has a lot of bling.
It's a very shiny place. It really kind of
happy,
is.
shiny entities.
And for a while, it was just the orbs that they were encountering, but they seemed to quickly evolve into something more present and sentient. Then something truly tingly happened. Linda made actual physical contact with one of these evolved orbs, which we will refer to as energy beings, as that is how the Bradshaws referred to them in their research. Here is how Linda describes her physical contact encounter with an energy being. You want to take this one, Moss?
One evening, I was sitting in the living room and looked up to see a cloud of energy hovering in the corner of the room. Not wanting to miss the opportunity to record it, I hurried to the kitchen for my camera, which was sitting on the counter. I reached for the camera. To my surprise and amazement, I realized this body of energy had followed me into the kitchen and was now wrapping itself around my legs. It's not a reptoid, they go for the fridge. The distinct sensation of electrical ions pricked at me. I aimed the camera directly at my legs and feet and snapped the shutter. In no uncertain terms, I then told this whatever to leave. When the photos were returned, I found this energy form documented on film, visibly swirling about my leg and feet. It was just one more in a series of strange phenomena.
There you go. And so it begins.
Yeah.
Victor, Linda's son, had an intense encounter with one of these energy beings as well, in the same house. Here is how that encounter went down. One evening, Victor was asleep on the sofa and awoke to find a tall, ethereal form coming from the hallway that leads to the master bedroom. The tall form was somewhat luminous and wore a long blue robe. To this day, my son says this being emanated the greatest love he has ever experienced in his lifetime. He related that it was a love totally different from what we as humans normally express to each other. While he lay there wide awake in amazement, this being expressed to him telepathically that my son should not be afraid, for he was in no danger. The beautiful being then expressed that it knew us and visited often. My son related that he could not remember exact words, but the impression was definitely implanted in his mind. Victor said he was left with the impression that it loved us very much, which is not surprising due to the apparent capacity it had for love. The message was then given to my son that he would not need to learn anything from others, for he would be taught what he needed by this being. I believe the message was, "We will teach you." The glowing entity then crossed the living room and floated through a wall while my son watched. After Victor witnessed this, he jumped up and threw back the drapes, which covered the window above the sofa. Outside, in addition to the tall being, he saw a smaller one beside my truck. It turned to look at Victor and telepathically requested that he follow the being, then lifted one knee. Now listen to this. Then lifted one knee, wrapped its arms about the uplifted knee, ducked its head, and transformed into a ball of light, which then disappeared. Perhaps these are the balls of light we see so often, and if they are, this would explain why we experience such peace when they are near. Remember what you said about that kind of belly-shaped acorny one?
Yeah, it had like nubs that were starting to be feet.
Yeah. What if that was an orb untransforming like he saw that thing transform into the orb?
Yeah, exactly.
The orbs are the beings, and the beings are the orbs.
Yeah. We have an us file of someone in my family who saw an orb seemed to be walking, and there was one on Slapped Ham. I don't know if you're familiar with that on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm Callan. This is Slapped Ham.
I haven't seen that in a while.
But he has one somewhere where it's just his egg, but it looks like it's walking. It's starting to form feet, and we have a similar account for an us file.
Oh, we'll have to do some follow-ups.
There you go.
Somewhere down the road on some orb stuff.
It wasn't me. It was someone,
cool.
A family member.
All right. Well, back to this tale. Late one night in the wee hours of the morning, Linda awoke and felt inexplicably drawn to her window. Looking out, she saw what appeared to be a white mass of energy in the yard below. She judged the thing to be about her size, but it didn't hold its shape for very long, and there was a UFO involved in the sighting. Linda Bradshaw describes the scene thusly. I noticed that this form moved fluidly and first appeared to be an indistinct mass, then took some form. It turned slowly, and I saw what appeared to be arms extended out a bit. It was very wispy, yet at times became more dense. 3 times while I watched, a ball of light appeared right in the middle of its form, then disappeared. This small light fluctuated from red to green to white, and the whole time that I viewed this process, balls and pinpoints of light appeared and remained close to it. Also, while watching this, I spotted a craft approaching from the north. It was definitely not the aircraft normally used here on Earth, for it moved extremely slow, finding its way to the hill on the west side of the ranch, then slowly lowering itself below the hill as if landing. I've watched them do this before, but the unique thing about this one was that just before it dipped below the horizon, it emitted an incredible halo of light all around it, which then seemed to draw itself back into the craft. It looks like pictures one sees of sunbursts. I distinctly remember seeing spikes of light which looked almost silver. It all happened very quickly.
And just to remind people, Sedona is really known for a lot of these strange orby things that happen.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I've been there a lot, mostly not at night though, I have to say.
Nope.
But I have not seen one of these, but it is very common. We hear these stories. They are fairly frequent.
And I always wondered why there's zero nightlife in Sedona. Like, everything's closed at like 9 o'clock.
Yep.
Like, the streets are empty at 9 o'clock. After this, writing this episode, I wonder if there's more to that than just, there's just no nightlife. Like,
yeah.
I know it's
There's
a small
reason.
town and all, but I think there's a reason that they want everybody inside by 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, the orbs will get you. But there was this creature-teacher component to it where it's trying, again, to teach. It's a ball
Right.
of luminous light trying to teach. So
That is one thing with this is, generally speaking, I mean, there's definitely harassment and things and like more scary things we'll get into as we go here, but generally speaking, these things seemed very positive creatures. Like there's a few that they got bad feelings from, but generally they actually enjoyed the energy they got from these things.
And
You
the
know what I
opposite
mean?
pole was the Skin
Walker.
Ranch in Utah. I think that seems to be a different,
That's very negative.
very negative thing where
Yeah.
people are,
Right.
having a very different experience.
Right, whereas that one has the negative energy. I think the Sedona ones have a more positive aspect to them.
Yeah.
It seems that way from the experiences you get from the Bradshaws.
It's all about funding,
Yeah,
the Bradshaws.
but we'll get into those as we go. We'll get more specific on all that as we go here. There's plenty of stories to come. From this last one, we once again see these odd creatures being apparently accompanied by UFOs. We've spoken about this with a number of things in the past on this podcast. Bat Squatch comes to mind as one reference. And I have a picture in the book here to show you, Moz. This is very show and telly. This is an exposure taken in what the people there thought was straight darkness. Bottom right there, Moz. That big wall of light
Yes.
was not visible to the
Wow.
people who took it. They thought they were taking a picture of that dude in the dark.
And the
'Cause-
top of it looks almost Cthulhu-y with these
Yeah,
little
it's like
tentacles, upside down jellyfishy squiddy thing.
Yeah, it's almost like a weird flame look to it or something. But yeah, an upside down Cthulhu. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you turn it upside down. It's super Cthulhu.
Don't do that. I would never do that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's Cthulhu made of light. That just kind of blows my mind. In the darkness, though.
Yeah.
It's very owly, actually, in its way right there, too. But yeah, so it gets even crazier than that. It seems that there were invisible human-like beings wandering around the Bradshaw Ranch as well.
We call them tourists.
This is all very overlaying dimension type stuff going on in this place, I'm telling you. This is where we go from weird to weirder, though. You ready?
Yep.
The residents and researchers on Bradshaw Ranch all frequently felt odd presences in their space. It became a general belief on the ranch that there were some invisible beings walking around. So at one point, when Tom Dongo felt the presence of something behind him, he quickly raised his camera backward up above his head and took a pic.
Yeah.
Trying to sneak up on the high behind kind of thing, you know?
Nice.
When developed,
That photo, Matt.
the shot showed the top of a man's head. An older man, judging by the gray ring of hair around the sides of his mostly bald head. This looked like the top of a typical human head. But the problem was, it didn't look like the head of anyone visibly present at the time the picture was taken, according to those present. And judging by the angle, the guy must have been standing close enough to Tom's back for him to feel the guy's breath on the back of his neck. Like he's right behind him. All
And
you see
again,
is
he
like
had
the crown of his head.
he had that moment where he felt like he was being watched, and he took that picture, and it all ties into.
It's
something.
like he actually felt the breath on the back of his neck and was like, "Oh, picture."
Or just that experience that you're being watched and something's behind me.
Yeah, super creepy, super creepy. But this guy came to be known simply as the guy.
Well, this is a ranch, so maybe God Caballero.
Yeah.
There you
I mean,
go.
that's kind of a good moniker for this place in the world. And over the course of their investigations, they got pictures of a bunch of his random body parts, mostly torso and leg kind of stuff, but were never able to get a shot of his face. I think the guy was kind of playing games with him.
I think that's very common.
He was playing like a game of tag with them that they didn't know they were involved with or something. You know what
If
I
we
mean?
ever get into that, I have related stories of things that they seem to be just making fun of the people doing ghost investigations.
Very trickster.
Yeah.
The invisible trickster dude.
Correct.
You know? Or I should say the invisible trickster guy.
Yeah. Caballero.
But they had better luck with another of these apparently invisible dudes moseying around Bradshaw Ranch like a bunch of lazy fobs from back east. One of the random pics they shot when sensing these invisible beings actually caught the profile of one of them. This guy became known as the Blue Man. I think he started a group shortly after his headshot went public back in the 90s.
I saw them on Fremont Street.
Yeah, there you
back in
go.
the day.
Anywho, at a quick glance, the picture of the Blue Man looks totally normal. I'm going to show you this pic while I describe it, Moz, so you can give us your feedback when I'm done giving my little spiel here. So at a quick glance of the Blue Man, he looks totally normal. But the closer you look...
This is one of the people that were in the...
Well, keep looking.
I'm looking.
The closer you look, the less normal he becomes. First, you notice his hair is blue. Then that his hair is cut oddly. It's kind of thin in the front and thick in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Very Captain Kirky sideburns.
So it's original series aliens at this ranch.
Then you see that the ear is kind of odd looking.
Spocky. No, it's not Spocky.
Maybe some severe cauliflowering. You see how the hole is not in the right place and stuff?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't look like a normal human ear.
Correct. Yeah, first glance, normal.
Yeah.
Second glance.
But maybe even weirder than that, if you really want to go down this rabbit hole with me, you can notice that the slope of his forehead and the long reach of his nose may look...
He has like a Neanderthal brow.
Yeah, like if he turned toward the camera, he wouldn't look quite so much human as he does from the side. What do you think of that, Moz?
Well, so you're saying this was a picture of someone that wasn't there.
Someone that wasn't there, according to the people present.
And it's obviously, you would normally, at first glance, it just looks like a guy, like very close up. Right. Just somebody that was there in the group and like, why are you taking this picture?
Right.
He was not there.
They once again, like they got the top of the guy's head.
Right.
It was the same thing. They felt something, so they just kind of took a bunch of pictures.
Yeah.
And one of them actually got the guy's profile.
Dang.
As he was like apparently walking away from him.
Yeah. And no one has sideburns like that except
Pine. And that ear is weird. It could be, I mean, I think I do that in the Skeptics. It could be massive cauliflowering of the ear maybe, but it's not. There's weird things about that dude in that picture.
If you don't look closely at first glance, it looks like who in the group that was there did they capture? Which
is how they blend in, once they become visible maybe. But there was a sort of trickster quality to these paranormal happenings around the ranch. There were random times when they would experience ethereal noises and voices from nowhere, with no sign whatever of where it was all coming from. One day while alone on the porch, Linda heard the distinct report of a nearby gunshot and felt a bullet whiz by her ear.
That's crazy.
Like, scared the crap out of her.
Wait, it is Arizona. That's not crazy.
Well, it's a ranch in Arizona, but still, like, out of nowhere, it's like right there and feel the bullet whiz by. Needless to say, it scared the downright bejesus out of her, you know? Mm-hmm. But looking around, there was no sign of any bullets or gunshots, and though she could have sworn the noise originated from inside the house, she was the only one there at the time.
So the shot came from inside the house.
The shot came from inside the
house. It whizzes past her ear while she's sitting outside on the porch.
And there's no holes in the walls or the windows.
Right. I gotcha.
You know?
Yep.
Like, can't explain it.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid. It wasn't like the kid had a BB gun.
This is more thin place type stuff where was that a replay of something that happened back in the 1800s,
yes.
maybe? Anywho, a few weeks later, Linda and her husband were sitting at their kitchen table when they both were seriously startled by the sound of shattering glass, seemingly right next to them, loud enough to make them both jump out of their chairs.
It's like when I do the dishes.
It's reminded me of Alma Fielding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Episode 26. Inspecting the house, there was no sign anywhere of a broken window or broken glass of any kind. They just couldn't make any sense of it. Then there was an occurrence that reminded me of actually one of your Us files from the owl stuff, Moz. Here's what Linda Bradshaw says about it in Merging Dimensions. Do you want to read this for us?
Late one evening, a small group of us were wandering about the ranch investigating when the sound of chattering voices came out of the dark. They appeared to be somewhat higher pitched than our voices and spoke in what appeared to be an unearthly language. This was not to be the only occurrence. A few days later at 9 a.m., I was walking through basically the same area when again heard the same voices. I searched the area thoroughly, but could find no visible sign of the source. In each instance, the chattering could be heard for only a few seconds. It would abruptly start and abruptly stop.
That sort of reminds me of your story from the cabin in the woods from the Owl Us Files episode number 64.
Well, it has a few little elements of that. It's inquisitive, it's observing, it's there to watch, it's intrigued.
It's chattery, but sounds otherworldly.
It's chattery, the same, yeah. There is something there.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
So I'm wondering if there's a portal in those Pennsylvania woods that you were in when you heard that. Because we'll get into it later, but there's a lot of these places around the globe, apparently.
Yeah. And again, we've been there for that one. We were there every year just about for this 17, 18-year period. Never had anything happen, and all of a sudden.
Just that, because you were there when the portal opened.
Right. So it isn't like, sometimes it's not a place can be very prone, and sometimes it's like Brigadoon where it only opens every 100 years or whatever. And an old guy stumbles out.
Once every 117 years, the portal opens.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the geysers at Yellowstone. You know what I mean? Like some of them go off every day. Some of them go off, once every decade. Some of them take forever.
If an old guy stumbles out, what you should do is just totally mess with him. It's like, yeah, dude. No, you're good. You're good. Wait. No, Emma, she still lives on the hill over there. It'll be fine. She has dinner waiting for you, bud.
First thing you do is ask him what year he thinks it is.
Yeah.
And then you go from there.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of ways to mess. We'll send it in the show notes. We'll have some extra ideas of how to mess with people who stumble out of a portal.
And these things were definitely messing with the people around here, but they weren't just messing with the people. They were also messing with the resident animals as well. One day, the Bradshaw's dog, Patches, was suddenly showing signs of some sort of large growth on their jaw. The dog had been fine the day before, and now the jaw was suddenly swollen to a disconcerting level. Linda ran Patches into town to see the vet, who didn't believe that such a growth could have happened all at once like that. The doctor insisted the growth must have been forming over time to be of such size and hardness, and he would see Patches again in a couple of days for surgery to remove whatever the growth may be. 2 days later, Linda and Patches returned to the vet. The doctor was shocked when he saw Patches, whose entire face was now swollen from the rapid growth of whatever had attached itself to their jaw. After performing the surgery to remove the growth, the doctor is quoted as saying, "Linda, in all my years of practice, I've never seen anything like this. The darn thing spread out and grew like wildfire, attaching to every muscle and nerve in its path. I'm sorry, but I had to remove one nerve in her face in order to get all of it out. Can you believe it? I had to go all the way to the bone. It even attached there. Crazy. Tests run to identify the growth were inconclusive. No conclusions were given as to what sort of growth it was. Fortunately, it proved non-cancerous, so it seemed that worry for Patches at least was over. Unfortunately, Patches was in for a whole nother set of troubles. Within a day of the surgery to fix her face, Patches fell ill. She was lethargic, wouldn't eat, had trouble just walking, and she lost around 25% of her body weight in a shockingly short period of time. Again, the vet was stumped. Test after test told them nothing. They had no answer as to what was causing Patches such a serious affliction. A second opinion was sought, and a veterinarian from the Phoenix area was able to identify Patches' malady. It was valley fever. Valley fever is caused by a fungus that grows in the low deserts of Arizona, most commonly in and around the Phoenix area of the Sonoran Desert. This is how rare of a thing this is. There was only one other case ever on file of a dog being diagnosed with valley fever in the Sedona area, and that dog had been recently relocated from the Phoenix area.
Yeah,
it was sick when it got there.
The valley is the Phoenix area, and Sedona's almost a high desert. High desert.
Right. It's a totally different environment in which this fungus does not grow. So Patches basically had contracted an impossible disease.
And it doesn't affect humans that way either. Like, they don't have big growths. It's usually in the lungs. It settles in the lungs,
right.
And it's like you can't breathe.
It's a really nasty infection, potentially fatal. It takes a lot of treatment. So it's not something humans want to get, but it's actually far more deadly in dogs. Like, if a dog gets valley fever, they're going to die pretty much.
But if it makes you move out of the Phoenix area, it's probably worth it. It's my theory on that.
He says in his hermit cave in the Phoenix area.
Well, I'm trying to dig a basement, but I keep getting valley fever.
That's the thing. You can't, because of the valley fever. There you go. Yeah. But odd growths and illnesses were not the only trouble the strangeness seemed to be causing the animals in the area. The livestock, particularly the horses, seemed to be having some troubles of their own. At times, the horses would suddenly freak and start scrambling around like there was something chasing them back and forth across the ranch, but the people present could never detect what had them so worked up.
This happened in
Skinwalker
Ranch as well, with all the animals going to one side of the pen.
It's almost a trope for the portally type places.
Yeah.
Also comes up in the movie Nope, which is awesome movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it.
I have not.
I'll have to make sure you watch that next time you get to the Flagstaff HQ.
I just said nope like Nancy Reagan would.
Nope. But if this weren't bad enough, some nearby ranches had experienced some fetuses being removed from their mares' wombs, leaving the horses barren and in a state of shock. The portal creatures were stealing their babies, Maz. Like, there's the dark side, you know? They were talking about how most of them are all, like, positive energy friendly. This is the dark side I was talking about.
Yeah, it's there. It has surfaced. It has surfaced. A dongo took my baby.
Oh, no. You just saw Tom Dongo's name was the next thing I got to read, and you dropped that on me?
Yeah.
But Tom Dongo reported this news to the Bradshaws to warn them to protect their currently pregnant mare. But as it turns out, Linda had an ace up her paranormal sleeve on this one, which actually brings us to my favorite part of this portally saga. Linda's interactions with a Mogollon monster.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. The Mogollon monster, for those unaware, that is the local nomenclature, as it were, for the Bigfoot in northern Arizona.
Correct.
The Mogollon Rim is where Flagstaff sits. It's like the southern edge of the Colorado Plateau, basically.
Yeah.
And so the Mogollon Rim has the Mogollon monster. The southern Arizona would be the Yucca Man, I guess.
Yeah.
Like the Yeti over in Nepal and stuff. So it's our local name for the Bigfoot. We're gonna use Mogollon monster, even though Linda Bradshaw did use the general Bigfoot in the book.
And the Mogollon Brewing Company did close, so there wasn't enough Sasquatch to to support like a brewing company.
Well, yeah, they moved their bar down to Cottonwood, so
yeah,
they're
but
probably
the
hanging out.
Green room's okay.
Yeah, they're probably hanging out with the reptilians in Cornville or something.
Yeah, we should do one on that.
Oh, we will.
Okay.
We will. We'll get there.
There you
Well,
go.
I mean, I kind of worked it into that Ahu Guano and Owl Week, but, that doesn't really count because that was an Ahu Guano.
You should. I think Cornville is Ahuguano just by mentioning the town Cornville.
There are, as an aside, since you mentioned it, there's also some reptilian sightings on Bradshaw Ranch.
Wow.
I didn't have time to really get into it.
Dang.
But there's greys and reptilians in the
You
book
don't
as
skip
well.
the reptoids. They get mad.
I mean,
about
I
that.
mention them, but I mean, they
They're
were
sensitive.
they're kind of in passing, just a couple really quick. Oh my God, was that a reptilian kind of sightings?
Yeah, I got
nothing much past that.
I got you.
All with the UFOs intertwined.
Right.
But anywho, back to the Mogollon monster bit that I'm looking to get into here. As part of their daily investigative process, the Bradshaws would scout the ranch for odd prints, as there always seemed to be some sort of strange, unidentifiable creatures running around. One day, while on the hunt for tracks, Victor spotted something very odd indeed. It was a track that in most ways resembled a human print, except the foot that made this print was a good 16 to 17 inches long and dang near 8 inches wide. What we got there is a Mogollon monster track, don't you think, Moss?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
There's a picture in the book here I'm going to show you. Here's some casts that were taken of some prints. This is actually a different incident.
Yeah.
This is from the 1970s, so this is from 20 years before. Tracks that were cast in the same area as Bradshaw Ranch.
I just
See
wondered,
that? Just like she described in the book 20 years later.
and I'm looking at them, they look very Sasquatchy. Did
Yeah.
Jeffrey Meldrum get a chance to look at these, you think? Have they been vetted? I don't know.
This book's been around since the mid-90s, so it was published in 95. So anyone interested, I'm sure, has seen this.
There you go. But if Jeffrey Meldrum would be interested. I wonder what he said about it.
Yeah. Well,
We'll have to see.
there's some old business for you. Make a
There you
note. You can follow up on that for us in the next one.
I will.
But the Bradshaws gave the beast a name, which was Big Girl, when they came to believe that the creature was female, which we will get into here in a minute, but I do want to start at the beginning. So they began to find these tracks all over the place. It seemed this Mogollon monster was taking up at least temporary residence around the ranch. So Linda, hoping to get some better understanding, began putting out plates of food for her. Not only was the food eaten, but there were responses from the monster. She would bring up big pile of vegetables on a paper plate, basically. That's what she would do. Always a red plate.
Mm-hmm.
That was a point she made. I don't know why.
What about ranch dip? I mean, it is a
Ooh,
ranch.
it
You
is a
should have
ranch.
ranch dip.
Yeah. You don't want to spoil the monster, though. You know what I mean? You
I feel
shouldn't
they
feed
might
the
just
animals
be like,
to begin with.
well, it's nice, but they could have been ranch dip. You don't want the
Yeah.
Mogollon monster saying that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to get a bad Yelp review from the Mogollon monster.
Exactly.
But at first, these return messages were sticks arranged in a way that indicated purposeful arrangement. Then it progressed to geometric shapes drawn in the sand near the food offering, a clear sign of intelligent communications. Linda reports, quote, "There were many pyramids or triangles, and there was even a pi sign and a little known symbol for wavelengths between dimensions."
Dang, well, there's your tell right there.
Not cool. She even said specifically she had to really research. It took her a while to figure out what that wavelengths between dimension symbol even was.
Yeah. But
So,
that makes sense in the context.
Yeah, like the Mogollon monster was like, let's see how smart these creatures are. So they started very simple, and they're like, okay, looks like they get that, and then they work their way up to
It's
some
it's
crazy
back
physics.
to Douglas Adams. Like if they give you carrot sticks, we give them an
Yeah,
equation
yeah.
that they don't barely know yet.
We'll trade you math for carrots.
There you go.
That's pretty good. It was during this time that something started stealing horse fetuses from their mother's wombs. But there were signs that Big Girl had been frequently visiting the corral of the Bradshaw's pregnant mare, and it seemed Big Girl was protecting this mare from whatever evil interloper was running around stealing all those babies.
Dongos.
It was not Dongo. He's a good guy. It just fits too well.
Well,
it
it's
just
a
fits too
Scooby
well.
episode. They asked Dongo to come on and investigate, and he become.
Yeah.
No, he's really in the role of the Mystery Machine guys.
Right.
So I don't know.
Right.
It's a tough.
He's a Shaggy,
stretch.
not a Mr. Perkins-Jenkins.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, actually, he's more of Velma than anything.
Yeah.
Like the smart researcher.
Yeah, I stand corrected.
Really digging in, reading the books, and going out in the field. Very
Sorry,
Velma.
Tom. A Dongo did not take the baby. Yeah.
Can we get some mad Cujos for Tom Dongo? Down boy! Because, you know, stealing the babies and all.
Is this
You
another
get it?
avoid a
Did
lawsuit?
you get it?
Oh, jeez. That's what I was thinking.
Mad Cujo stole my baby.
Oh, man.
You get it?
No. I thought you were just trying to avoid another lawsuit, but that's
No,
what you did is better there.
I'm just made it worse.
Yeah.
I made it worse.
Wow. Mad Cujos with Valley Fever.
Oh,
The
boy.
Tom Dongos who took the babies. you know.
Yeah. But then came the sign that convinced the Bradshaws that Big Girl was not only female, but also currently pregnant. Here is how Linda Bradshaw describes it in the book Merging Dimensions. Here is how I know this Bigfoot was female. One morning, I went out to our exchange spot to find an incredible full-body print of her on the sandy ground. She had lain on her back to produce this for us. There, very visible, were the head, shoulders, elbows pointing out as she placed her hands on her chest, torso, bottom, and legs. I quickly stepped off the length of the impression and deduced that she was almost 9 feet tall.
That's about right.
Yeah. There to the side, just above her hips, was a round bulge. Being a woman, I know that if you're pregnant, you cannot rise straight up when laying on your back. You have to roll over to your side to rise. Obviously, she had needed to do this, and when she did, her protruding stomach made the oval bulge on the ground. So there you go. That's their evidence for Big Girl being pregnant at the time. The Bradshaws had been finding long white strands of fur in the places they found evidence of a Big Girl visit as well, so they were pretty sure she was a white Mogollon monster, which is pretty cool.
It's
very
rare,
Yeti.
but it happens.
Yeah. Not too long after the deduction that she was pregnant, they started spotting little baby Bigfoot prints, or I should say Mogollon monster prints, next to Big Girl's oversized tracks.
Nice.
And some strawberry blondish colored fur strands lying alongside the typical white
There you go.
of Big Girl.
Nice.
So it seems that Big Girl's name needed to be updated to Big Mama at this point because the baby had come.
Yeah.
How do you like that, Muzz?
Yeah. It's like the Patterson Gimlin film. That was
Oh, there you go.
a mama
Yeah.
with a baby, potentially.
Potentially, yeah. And, of course, it came to be that sightings of Big Girl began to get tied into UFO sightings on the ranch, which became more and more common as time passed in the Bradshaw's investigations. Apparently, Victor Bradshaw, the son, got actual video footage of Big Girl before the typical energy drain killed the battery in his camcorder. And this is the thing, she wasn't the reason he was filming at the time. He accidentally got video of the Mogollon monster.
Yeah, it's like, Mr. Mogollon, could you move aside? There's a UFO cresting the rim there.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
That's kind of it. Here is how Linda Bradshaw describes it specifically in the book. You want to read this one for us, Mom?
There on tape was her image walking slowly, moving her long arms and taking giant strides. Her neck was almost non-existent, showing a large head sitting almost on her shoulders. The other enormous clue to this mystery is a UFO, which also appeared on the film at the same time. This craft is what my son was attempting to film, not realizing that Big Girl was also there at the time. The craft and Big Girl were in close proximity.
So there you go. We have our straight up UFO and Mogollon monster in the same frame.
Yeah, and that's, very UFO and Bigfoot, like that Wyatt Cox book. Like we started to see a lot more.
Yeah.
And again, initially we were really upset about why these things happening. I think as time goes on, we need to understand that strange phenomenon seems to come in groups and clusters and bunches.
Yep, it definitely all seems like it's coming from the same place, and all tied together.
Honey Bunches of Bigfoot, which is a great breakfast cereal too.
It's very Star Wars with Bigfoot and UFOs. It's like the Wookiees are actually coming around.
Oh yeah, so it is kind of a Millennium Falcon, and yeah.
Yeah, very much so to me.
Yep.
If you're going to have spaceships and the Bigfoot at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm going to start calling Bigfoot Wookie.
Yeah, I know. It's a Wookie move, but you go, girl.
And this actually brings us to the full-on UFO portion of our presentation today. Please keep all heads and limbs inside the Tesseract at all times so as not to scatter your precious little parts across the infinite expanse of space-time.
There's infinite room in here. We should be able to manage that.
Yeah, but you don't want to be atomized across it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
There was an inordinate amount of UFO activity in the Sedona area during the early to mid-1990s, which is where all this was going on. We will for now focus only on the activity as it pertains directly to Bradshaw Ranch, which is our focus today. Due to sheer volume, the rest of these UFO stories will be relegated to the side trail or placed carefully in the mausoleum for use in future episodes.
Nice.
Because there's a bunch of them from Tom Dongo. Tom Dongo should put out a book of all his stuff, just UFO stuff. It would be great. There were sightings by the Bradshaws of both greys and reptilians, as I was saying, on the ranch in conjunction with UFO sightings. These encounters were up close enough for the Bradshaws to witness these creatures in detail as they slunk around the ranch house. As far as these things go, they are your typical ET sightings. It's, they kind of walk by and you're like, oh my God, and then they're gone. So that's why I'm not going to get any further into that, but just know that they were lurking around when their ships were about. Primarily, I want to focus on the experiences of Linda's son Victor, his apparent abductions by these UFO craft, and his subsequent regressive hypnotherapy sessions, as that is where most of the details come out.
Remember the Groove Tube? Actually, I thought there was a Weird Al one with a gorilla with like a space helmet-y kind of thing going. I don't know if that has anything to do with what we're talking about, but
Weird Al gorilla space helmet.
Yeah, there's like...
I know we did a George of the Jungle.
I don't know if it was a Groove Tube. I don't know if it was a Weird Al thing. I don't know if it was both, but there's...
Old business.
Old business.
Oh, we're actually going to have old business for the first time this season.
We got a lot of it.
But on 2 separate occasions, Victor experienced large chunks of lost time. The first was when he went out for an afternoon hike and disappeared until the next day, finally calling home from somewhere in Cottonwood, well over 30 miles from the ranch.
We've all had days like that, Jeremy.
Right? The story he had as to how he got there was ludicrous, like something out of a fever dream. Like, so ludicrous, I'm not even going to tell you. If you want to really know, read the book. But it's like, it really is something like dreamscape type stuff. But it was the only memory he had for the time that he was gone.
But again, it could be Jungian, and maybe we table that, because these Jungian mythical luminous balls does tie into some of that.
It totally seems like his brain was trying to translate something it didn't understand.
Correct.
Yeah,
and that's what totally ends up happening.
Yeah, that was the sense I got reading it. But he was desperate to know his own truth, so Victor went to a renowned hypnotherapist to attempt to recall what actually happened to him that night. We're going to relive this a little bit. The following is a partial transcript of that session, which took place on July 31st, 1994. We're going to do this together, Maz. I'm going to read the part of Victor, and Maz, you're going to read the part of the doctor, all right?
Is this from the movie Dreamscape with Dennis Quaid?
You can use that in your form.
Inflections. I don't
use that
do the Dennis Quaid thing. I can do Randy Quaid probably better.
You're way better Randy Quaid, yes. Yes, very, very much so.
Wow!
Dennis Quaid in Inner Space.
Yeah, all right. Okay, I'm tracking a little bit.
Can you do that one?
No.
Yeah. Martin Short in Inner Space? Ooh, I'm going to... The Martin Short to my Dennis Quaid. Who's gonna understand that one when I use it as an opening someday?
Oh, an Inner Space?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because then one of us is injected inside the other one. That's a creepy one. I'm going to have to put that on the list.
That sounds terrible. My God.
All right. Did we get all that out of our system? Are we ready to be serious for a second? Because you got the first line. Go ahead, doctor.
Go to the moment in time when you are lacking water.
I see a triangle. White lights in the shape of a triangle. There is a glass or mirror. I'm going through the glass into the triangle. I'm not in the canyon. I'm inside something. I can look down and see my body below me. I see the canyon walls. I'm as high as the walls. I'm just looking. I'm now above the walls. Something is pulling me up. It's a bright light.
Where are you now? What do you see?
I saw something, a white oval head. There's more than one.
What happened?
There is a bright light. There are 2 lights, 2 colors, one white and another color. One is right above me.
Where are the oval heads?
To my gray bodies. Their bodies are gray. There's a white light behind them, a yellow light above me.
What does a yellow light mean? What does a yellow light mean?
Slow down.
All right, we figured that one out.
So the next portion of the conversation has been redacted by Linda to keep a bunch of personal stuff private, which, it's her son, so understandable. But she does note for the reader that within the redacted segment, Victor reveals that he, quote, did receive an implant in his temple at the time of his abduction. When asked its function, Victor answered that it was a homing device, unquote. Now, to continue with the rest of the interview, you lead again, Moss.
Where are they from?
Outside of our zone, we can't see another dimension.
Recap the events as you remember them.
I see a triangle. It's almost invisible. Form floating through the air. There is a bright orange light. Gray people. There is an operating table with a bright orange light above to the left. A white light. It is almost pulsating with them underneath it. There is a person to my right. They are holding a wand. It is gray, almost the same color as the people. This is when they do something to my knee. I don't feel any pain, though. This person looks something like the gray ones. The wand goes into my knee.
Why did they select you?
I believe I was in the right place, the right time. Maybe it has something to do with medical or something they're missing. I have something they need.
What is their intention?
Exploring without being known, to know about us, but a much higher scientific, almost knowledge than we have. We skip ahead again to a point where Victor is essentially channeling the ETs through the implant in his temple, which is something you hear through in these hypno sessions for abductees.
We bring you to scene 4 when Victor is channeling the ETs.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. There you go. But again, the doctor leads off.
Why us? Why now?
It has to do with erosion, either on this planet or theirs. Something is happening. I feel like they are pressured time-wise.
How long have they been happening?
For a while.
Do they have agreement to penetrate this planet? Do they have permission?
Yes.
From who?
From signals they sent, other decoys they sent into our general population.
Sent to whom?
The entire population. Agreement through... There are more than just them. There are others too. Someone has let them into our space.
Who? Is it a conscious agreement with Earth citizens, or is it implanted?
It's both. It's implanted, but agreement made with human beings.
Consciously?
Yes.
Who?
Head of the power. So there you go. That's a little creepy, right?
Yeah.
Kind of lines up with a lot of the lore behind all this stuff. Like President Eisenhower, maybe. You know?
Well, I go back to just, it didn't hurt him, but this wand in the knee, it does have that shamanic piercing component to it.
Oh, there you go.
So there's always these kind of overlap themes.
Implies maybe additional implants other than just the thing in his head, too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if the shamans were, but that perforating piece of it was part of before they kind of, they tear you apart to the bone, but there's also the spearing that happens during the shamanic initiation.
Right.
And that's similar. It's not exactly what we're talking about.
The whole Pontius Pilate thing.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's an example.
Yep.
So Victor goes on to explain.
But Jesus was a shapeshifter, not a shaman. No, I'm just kidding.
We
established that. We established both.
I thought he's a shape-shifting shaman.
Yeah. You're both right.
Sure. Both of me are right?
Both.
That's reassuring. Anywho, Victor goes on to explain that we are in a deal with these ETs for protection from some galactical threat, but that the whole thing is all based on a contract that will soon expire, and things might not even hold together that long with the way things have been going, with the building tensions between all the sides of the arrangement.
Ooh.
It's like crazy galactic politics stuff going on. It all sounds very complicated and cryptic and really terrifyingly threatening. So we're going to move on to the next thing.
And that contract, that was the only thing keeping the Vogons from building that intergalactic highway.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the next thing is kind of the same thing all over again. Not long after this, Victor experienced another serious lost time episode. He returned to the good doctor's office again on August 19th, just a few weeks later from that last session, for another regression session. Regression session. Is that a jazz
session
band?
from a creature teacher.
Sounds like the name of a jazz band.
I like
Regression session.
Yeah.
The session starts with Victor remembering driving his car and being apparently summoned to a place he had no intention of going, like random spot out in the desert kind of thing.
Yeah.
He tells the doctor that these beings can appear as, quote, almost anything they want to appear as, meaning light forces. It's an energy. They can do as they wish. It is good, unquote.
It's very shapeshiftery. We can appear as
any form they want. And the thing, the orb turning into the creature folding itself back down to the orb and then disappearing like it's folding itself into the next dimension.
Yep.
Interesting stuff. But Victor cryptically hints again at two sides of aliens, one that wants to help, another that wants to destroy. The good are here to try to override the deep evil that has supplanted itself on this planet in the form of greed in our people.
It's very Wetico again.
That's how they put it. Then Victor suddenly stops answering questions. He says he is being watched by the entity he first met in Lloyd Butte Canyon, the location of the known portal we discussed, and that this entity is always with him, always watching, always listening. But Victor feels no real threat, no sense of dread from this invasive oversight. It just is what it is to him.
Like
in
our
his mind.
podcast.
Yeah.
Same idea.
It's just kind of there.
Yeah, it is what it is. Leave a Yelp review. Leave some carrot sticks out for us.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll leave you an equation.
Oh, there you go. If you leave us a plate of vegetables, we will draw you a pyramid in the sand.
Yeah.
That's a great deal.
Yep.
So toward the end of the second session that we're talking about here, Victor is asked about the specific types of aliens he has encountered. We pick up the actual dialogue from there in the same format as before. You ready, Moz?
Are the Greys the good guys or the bad guys or both?
The Greys are neutral at this point. The Greys play games. We don't. They're not.
Why do you think the Greys are coming around so much?
I believe that there are many. I know that there are many different forms of life beings on this area at this time. The Greys are territorial. They wish to have territorial achievement if you let them have it.
Good. You mentioned the golden ones.
They are the light. I see 3 of them. I see 3 choice ones.
Can you describe them?
They are of a luminous gold, beautiful head figure. Not like that of the Greys, or of any that I have seen. Their bodies are short. They're slightly wide. Their arms are long and can move flowingly. Their bottom half does not have defined form.
Would you say that's similar to angels described in other times?
Yes, absolutely. They can throw the light with their hands. They journey as light. They can journey up to 3 at a time in a small vessel which is actually light.
What's the outcome of this process? Go through that probe to the time when the outcome has played itself out, and if you are willing, describe what you see.
I see people being drawn. They are helped and flown off, being escorted as by super angels. Up. Okay, this sounds way like interdimensional beings to me, but there's a lot to say about what we just did there, Moss. I know you have some stuff.
Yeah, I think from the owl thing, Cleland talked about owls coming 3. Whitley Strieber talks about aliens coming in 3. And I'm proud of myself for not saying that the Golden Girl's coming through, because I kept thinking about them through this whole passage.
There's 4 of them.
Really?
Yeah, there's 4 Golden Girls.
Well, it's 3. It's the 4ing of the 3. Coming
the
back
of
as the
3.
1.
Right,
yeah, it's
right.
back to our Clellan bit.
So who was the 4th? Betty White? She's the one that flips it back around, right?
Because she really is Keith Richards.
Whoa. I just totally forgot my whole day.
That is a
That blew
Tesseract.
my mind so hard.
That Tesseract is the pairing of Betty White and Keith Richards.
Wow. They're the yin and yang of the immortal energy.
Correct.
Huh. I actually, to me, this reminds me, I'm actually reading Zecharia Sitchin right now, the 12th planet.
Nice.
And the whole ancient gods coming from space and stuff.
Yeah.
This reminds me a lot of that too.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like he's interacting with the old Sumerian gods and whatnot, or pre-Sumerian gods, I should say.
Gozer.
So yeah, very, very interesting revelations there from Victor in those sessions. A lot more on stuff like that in the book. I do, by the way, very much recommend it for anyone who finds this topic interesting, especially for locals around here in the area who want to know more about the oddness of Sedona.
It is odd that it was known for all these orbs, and it really has died out in recent years, because we got here, we knew that this was very common. Look up to the skies, blue lights. People were seeing them all the time.
Yep.
It does seem to have died in the last 15 years or so.
I'm going to explain why as we go here, actually,
there we go.
later.
Cool.
But we got some other things to talk about.
We got here, and we messed everything up with our East Coast ways.
Yeah, we're definitely
mayonnaise on sandwiches and new pickles.
You could say we're part of the problem in a way, if you want to, especially on the philosophical side.
It really is.
But this brings us back actually to the central focus of this episode with which we began, portals.
Yeah.
Because really it's all coming down to the portals. Portals.
Williams.
We will now finally discuss that specifically located portal I teased you with at the beginning, and maybe a couple other times since. For it is where all of these oddities we've discussed seem to have emanated from. The first anyone actually saw of the third portal, as they reference it in the book, the one they located, was Linda. When she was out on the ranch one night, suddenly there was a vibrantly bright light in the sky.
Venus.
Swamp gas in the desert. She said it was like someone had turned on a giant TV screen in the middle of the night sky. It lasted for only a moment, just long enough for Linda to see it, but not time enough to really react. Then it blinked out as quickly as it had blinked in. On another evening, not too long after that one, Linda saw the window in the sky open again, and this time she was ready with a camera. She was able to snap a shot of the odd rectangular light in the sky before it closed a moment later, then again when it appeared for a second blink. So it flashed on and off a couple times, and she was able to snap a couple pics real quick. So again, bubbling with anticipation, Linda rushed the film to the developer as quickly as she could.
The photomat booth.
The photomat booth back in the day. When she got the pictures back, it was once again not what she expected.
It was glossy, and I hate when they do glossy. You don't want glossy.
I wanted matte, damn it.
Dang.
In the first picture, where she had expected to see a bright rectangle of light, she instead saw something truly shocking. What in real time appeared to her eyes as a rectangle of light, in the picture, showed a scene of another place and time. Within the rectangle in the picture was a sunny day from another place, a picture taken apparently from some height. I am going to show Maz this picture and have him describe what he sees.
Wow, okay.
So there's a few different ones here. This one's sideways, and those two are up, you can see. But look at that big one right there on the top.
Gotcha.
What do you see there?
Looks like a tic-tac.
What else is in the picture, though? Like, describe the whole thing.
It looks like a telephone pole to the right, and it looks like a tic-tac described by was a Fravor, and
yeah,
it looks very tic-tacky. It's very strange that
it's the middle of the night in the dark in Sedona, and you see how it's all like bright. It's like the sky and distant lands you can see.
And again, this is looking through a window or a portal into a different period.
into a different place in space-time.
Right.
Or maybe different dimension. That might be the same thing. I'm not really sure.
Right.
You see down in the bottom left-hand corner?
Yeah.
What do you think? What does that look like to you? Because I disagreed with the book in what that looked like.
That looks like a more traditional UFO because you're starting to see, I guess in both, you see the nub, you see the telephone.
So you think it's another craft in the bottom left-hand corner?
Well,
because I saw it as like a building, but in the book they say that it looks like a person in a spacesuit. So it's like hard to define, I guess.
Oh, I see.
If you flip to the next page too, they have some highlights of it.
Mm-hmm.
But
oh,
yes.
I see. They blew it up. It looks like Big Mama holding her baby.
Oh man, there you go. Actually, that wow.
No, that is I on the wrong page?
No, that's right. Yeah,
it looks like Big Mama holding her baby.
Oh my God, it does.
I'm not kidding.
Oh my God, it's Big Girl holding her baby.
Yeah.
Oh, too much with the UFO in the shot. The weird thing is the telephone.
But they don't say that in the book. That's what it looks like to me.
They say it looks like a person with a spacesuit on, is how they describe it, which doesn't make any sense.
Back to that Groove Tube Weird Al movie.
Dude, looking at the blow up, that makes so much more sense. Look, you can see the kid's head sticking out from the crook in her arm.
Correct.
And it totally looks like
But they don't say that in the book.
Wow, you just nailed it. No, they didn't. This is another example.
Well, I did have 3 seconds to review this, and if I had 6 seconds, boy, I could have solved this.
So there you go. The weird, and actually, you got the Mogollon Monster / Bigfoot looking thing in the bottom left corner.
Right.
You got the very UFO craft.
But then they blew it up. Yeah, they blew it up on the next page. That little corner.
It makes what looks like the top of a standard utility pole.
Correct.
In the right corner seem out of place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like weirdness. But that's just like a normal looking. But you got to remember, this is out on the ranch in the middle of the desert. There's no utility poles within miles of this place. There's nothing that looks like that in this valley. So they are looking at a different place.
But you got a creature that's going between that TV screen and our Sedona and that other Sedona.
Right. And that craft may be approaching to come through the portal as well.
Yeah. It's where it's strange. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't believe. Anyway, we'll go.
Okay, we'll move on.
That's what it looks like to me immediately. But anyway.
No, I think you nailed it. That's actually the best. That's why I wanted to get your opinion before I told you what other people thought, because that nailed it, I think. Because yeah. All right. Anywho, Tom Dongo had a lot to say about the picture of the portal. We're going to save the bulk of it for the theory section coming up shortly, but I will lay the foundation of that discussion with this excerpt from Merging Dimensions. It may be that these windows, holes, portals, or whatever they actually are in reality in the midst of a city, outpost, temple, ship, or some structure situated in the exact same place where one is standing on Earth. However, these objects may actually be in another dimension or reality that is far beyond normal human perceptions. Overlaid dimensions.
String
it's
theory.
A portal opening between the membranes. It's really more M theory than string theory.
Yeah, M theory is just an advanced version.
Right. It's the next step. It's the membranes overlapping each other, laying on top of each other.
So you're right. String would be M would be membranes overlapping, and string would be more a string connecting all these different dimensions.
Correct.
I get it.
There is a distinct difference there.
Yeah.
I think this is much more M than
M
string.
for membrane. Yep. Insane in the M brain.
Right. But in overall, it kind of sounds like a lot of stuff I've been talking about on this podcast, or even we have been talking about on this podcast.
Yeah.
And me and Tom Dongo are definitely on the same page with this stuff, like I was talking about earlier. But there is one more bit to cover in all this before we move into the theory section and start wrapping this up. So looking in the background of all this that I haven't mentioned till now, but it's woven in the background, was a long-standing local rumor substantiated by a lot of conversations that started with "so I heard the other day" kind of stuff, but also by random sightings of out-of-place government-looking type vehicles riding around in the middle of nowhere, particularly in the vicinity of Loy Butte and Secret Mountain.
Dang.
It was all just rumors for a while, swirled in with all the stories of strange creatures and craft in the area. But in the mid-90s, when paranormal activity in the area seemed to be at a peak, the government stepped up their game, and it went on for years. This from Linda Bradshaw. For the past 2 years, we have been witnessing the appearance of black, unmarked helicopters flying extremely low over our ranch. The crafts come in so low that the roar of the blades sways our trees and scares our animals. On 2 occasions, we have seen missiles attached to the crafts as if they were prepared for a fight. Along with this provocative activity, there is a huge cargo plane that has also buzzed the ranch so low that everything in our house rattled. The plane was large enough to carry a military tank inside of it. It would fly so low that it had to lift its nose to clear a tree above the house. Once past the ranch, it would circle around and head toward the area of the suspected secret military base.
In Cornville.
No, though. It's never where we think it is. That's the whole point. First of all, it is illegal for these huge fixed-wing aircraft to fly so low. Secondly, what is a plane of that size doing in our area? It buzzes our home, then flies into an area where there supposedly is nothing. Certainly nothing that could accommodate a plane that size. There are also ongoing appearances of white vehicles in the area. Many times they are without license plates, and the men in every case look like military personnel. Yet another time at night, my son saw a large caravan in the same vicinity, only this time the vehicles were yellow and had not a spot of dirt on them. They shined immaculately, and there was an official-looking insignia on each of the doors. Due to the darkness, my son could not read what the insignia said. He said that he was behind the caravan, and when they saw him, they all pulled over to allow him to pass. He states that it seemed like an attempt to get rid of him, so that he would not follow. Local residents have agreed that there was no reason for trucks that big to be out there, especially at night.
This is during when they were, releasing the X-Files, and it does seem like guy that would be there in a suit going, "You're covering up the truth, man!" They drag him away. It seems like an X-Files episode. And so did the Mojave incident, for that matter.
Yeah. You want an odd correlation that I can pull out of that? The vehicles are white and yellow. What 2 color lights did he see during his abduction?
White, yellow, and green? What was the other one?
Well, the white over the operating table, there was the yellow light was over him and the white light was over the grays.
Ah.
And then you see the white and yellow vehicle.
Gotcha.
You're thinking of a different thing with the change of color in
the change of color
in the energy form.
Gotcha.
But it wasn't just the Bradshaws that were getting harried by these intrusive military flybys. This was a general area thing. One of their fellow ranchers in the area had a Black Hawk come down and hover so low over his roof for so long, he ended up storming out into the rotor wash and threatening the pilots with his shotgun.
That's a moment, right?
Yeah. The pilots were close enough for him to look in the eye.
Yeah.
So, how pissed off do you have to make somebody for him to point a shotgun at a Black Hawk?
Yeah. It's like, that is a moment. If that really happened, it is like, that is like, everybody's like, just stand your ground moment.
Oh, yeah. Oh, knowing the people up around here,
Get off my land.
Totally
Get
believe
off my
that.
land right now.
I have no doubt that actually happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
In what I would call an eventuality moment, Victor, the
From scene 4.
Well, he's a hardcore investigator. This guy, he was constantly scouting new parts of the desert, kind of thing. Once all this stuff started happening, but Victor stumbled onto this secret base while hiking in a section of desert previously unreconnoitered by the investigative crew.
And meanwhile, Victor stumbled onto the secret base while hiking. He does seem like from a soap opera. I'm sorry.
He has some episodes, no doubt. But coming over a ridge, he found himself looking down on some sort of installation that was wildly out of place. He saw a fleet of white trucks of all shapes and sizes, including an 18-wheeler that was loaded with some sort of alien-looking craft.
This is so X-Filey.
Yeah, Linda Bradshaw describes it as, quote, an airborne type of vehicle, but it had no wings. It was oblong with 2 large windows in the cockpit section, and the remainder was extremely sleek. Very tic-tacky.
Yeah, it's tic-tacky.
Yeah, from episode 6 and 7, when I started off with the UAPs,
And those are now confirmed by the military, essentially.
Pretty much.
That's something in the 90s that is in a book that was not confirmed at that time.
Yeah. It's on the congressional record now.
Yep.
You know, Fravor went to the House and testified about it. So there you go. But new theory alert here. Speaking of the Tic Tac, for those familiar, could the underwater craft that the Tic Tac craft liaised with have actually been a portal?
Yeah, it hits the portal on the surface of the water.
Yeah, it was like a water-bound portal. That's why all the frothiness. It wasn't actually a craft; it was a portal.
Somebody's like, "Wouldn't it be cool if we just put the portal right on the surface of the ocean, man?"
That's a good way to hide it, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Good way to hide it.
And you can't find them.
But that's totally off point. Let's get back to the secret base upon which Victor has just stumbled. Milling around the yard with all the trucks were 5 men dressed in totally sus white coveralls. Not wanting to be seen.
White coveralls?
White coveralls.
Matching their white trucks.
Yeah, right? Not wanting to be seen, Victor took cover on the ridge and began to film the base below. For all his efforts at stealth, however, Victor felt eyes upon him. He turned to see, behind a nearby Sedona shrub, quote, a small alien-type being rising up to look at him. It peeked out of the bush a couple of times before Victor overcame his amazement and turned the camera on the being. Almost as if posing for him, it peeked out 3 more times and is now recorded on film, unquote. We'll talk a bit more about that later. Before Victor could engage with the strange alien-looking creature, both a jeep from the valley below and a plane from above began speedily closing in on his location. He filmed for just a few more seconds and then absconded into the desert, where he hid until they seemed to give up the search for him and then snuck home. I assume under cover of darkness because it's the best way to sneak.
Sure.
Victor seemed to be the primary target of the military's, or whoever they's were, harassment campaign. He was, on multiple occasions, involved in odd car chases, some resulting in violent face-to-face altercations with strange men in strange situations. He had the abduction and lost time incidents we spoke of earlier, and there is even one more lost time event he suffered tied to the events at the secret base. On another hike, Victor spotted a plane of the same type that chased him off the ridge overlooking the base. As had the plane before, the plane flashed a super bright strobe at him, but this one was different. Quote, this time, a brilliant red light completely consumed the entire camera lens, and all filming ceased. It appeared that the camera was dropped. Victor had no recollection of this incident and only dimly remembered it when he saw it on film, unquote. It's very, Men in Black, flashy thing. They flashed them.
No, it would have been because it's Men in White, it would have been something else.
Yeah, there you go. But I actually do feel like Victor might want to get some brain scans done after all these lost time incidents.
Yeah, he could have valley fever by now.
It can't be good for your noodle to keep having your brain reset like that. You know what I mean?
And Victor, I guess he's obviously an adult of the son of the
correct
and he's wandering around the desert, exploring. Wherever something happens, they send their kid to go. It's like with Lassie.
Well, I think he took it on himself to be the main explorer.
Gotcha.
Once all this, because Linda kind of sparked the investigation. It seems like Victor really kind of became the main investigator, as it were.
Yeah. Okay.
He got all this video and was supposed to be making the movie, and it just never happened. It's just more of the cover-up that we'll get into later on, I think. But I am digressing. There were also numerous reports from hikers in the canyons around Sedona over the years the Bradshaws owned their ranch of combat-geared soldier-looking troops approaching them and demanding they evacuate the area immediately. In some cases, these apparent soldiers forcibly escorted the hikers back to their vehicles and made sure they drove away. This is in a national forest, public land, like people are allowed to be there. And then all of a sudden these guys show up and are like, you gotta go. And in the end, there's really no end to the strangeness that we could go into in this episode. the book wasn't that long, but oh my goodness, are there so many events in there.
Is Victor the father of baby mama's Mogollon monster baby?
I am not going down that road with you, Moss.
I'm just asking.
And we can't go on forever. And of course, neither could the pace of paranormal portally activity in the Bradshaw Ranch area, because nothing goes on forever, right? And especially with these G-Men goons lurking around in this secret base doing stuff, you know something was going to have to come to a head. And in the fall of 1994, as all the portal-related madness seemed to be reaching a peak, a fire broke out on Secret Mountain, right where the main portal was thought to be, as Secret Mountain was the focal point of all the activity in the area. It was a particularly fast-growing fire that started under suspicious circumstances, and the locals had a general consensus that arson was involved. Some reported seeing military jets and helicopters swarming around Secret Mountain shortly before the fire broke out. Then, for reasons not explained to the public, they did not dispatch fire crews to the fire scene for a full 5 days after the fire started, allowing the entire top of the mountain to burn out. It was all super duper sus, but Tom Dongo has a theory on who started the fire and why. He believes the government found a way to close the portal, and the fire was all part of the plan.
But was super duper sus part of the plan? I gotta ask.
It's always part of the plan when you're dealing with the Black Ops government stuff.
Little super duper sus.
Super sus, man. As I said, leading up to the fire, there was a crescendo of paranormal activity in the area. Here is what Tom Dongo had to say in the aftermath of the fire.
Is this where it builds up to the collapse of the Midgley Bridge?
Ooh. I don't know. Why don't you read it for us and find out, Moss?
Since the big fire, there have been absolutely no reports, not one, of any kind of paranormal or UFO activity in the region encompassing Secret Mountain. Perhaps this will change in the future. It has been common topic of conversation in the Sedona area that the fire seems suspicious and perhaps was intentionally set. It was a planned fire meant to burn something of a strategic nature. What was it that burned? Could it have been an underground base, a portal, an installation, or a device that burned? Who knows? But the sudden cessation of high paranormal activity on the mountain after the fire points to some sort of incident of enormous significance.
There you go. Maybe like closing an interdimensional portal significant?
There you go.
But not long after the fire, the U.S. federal government purchased the land around Secret Mountain, including Bradshaw Ranch.
Yeah.
The land was given over to the powers of, they actually called a special session of Congress to allot the funds to buy this tract of land.
Wow.
There's a newspaper article in the book.
Huge tracts of land.
But like U.S. Congress, the federal level U.S. Congress.
We got to note that in the side trail. That's amazing.
Specifically, I'm noting it right now, specifically allotted funds to buy this tract of land right after this whole closing the portals type action.
Yeah.
Sus, dude. Like the cover-up conspiracy side of this, you could almost do an entire episode just about that. Yeah. There's so much to it. It's weird. But the land was given over to the powers of the National Forest Service and is now leased, get this, to NAU, Northern Arizona University, for use as a climate studies field research area.
Dang.
This makes it off limits to the general public, even though it's public land. See how they did that? And keeps NAU from letting anyone know what else is going on back there. Because they want to keep their lease.
Yeah.
Yeah, see how they did that? It's public land, but you can't go there.
But you said the contract was about to expire. That was one of the messages for the dialogue. I'm just saying.
You can only put so much weight on a translated message that they're trying to pull out of some
No, I get it. But it is interesting that the contract's coming up, and then there was this big to-do, and then the military has to buy the land.
Right. You know? They close the fire and they close the portal, and they got to buy the land and keep it secret.
You get O'Neill there, you get the Cheyenne Mountain, you get the Stargate, you get that team in there.
Yeah,
SG-1.
I got 3 words for you on that, Moz.
Okay.
Sus.
Wow, you sussed me. I said not. I asked
triple
about the sus earlier.
Super sus.
You triple sussed me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which brings us at long last to our theories section. Any questions or comments here, Maz, before we actually get into the
I feel like I did
thought?
my theories as we went.
Okay.
I have an aho guano-y kind of thing percolating.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to that after we do the more serious ones here.
There you go.
Since Tom Dongo and I are so much on the same page with our theorizings about this weirdness, and this episode is kind of crazy long already, I think. Feels like it. I'm just going to present a couple of Tom's theories to discuss, and then you can do whatever you have, Maz, and then we'll do our Ahu Guanos, okay?
Sounds good.
Actually, I might throw one of my own in here. We'll see how it goes. Tom's theory number 1. The first half of this one is for me, and the second half is for you, Maz.
I'm ready.
So listen well. Human seeing and hearing apparatus can detect objects or sound only on very specific frequencies or wavelengths. It is now an established scientific fact that an object or being could exist in a solid form above or below our range of perception, and we would not be able to see or hear it under normal conditions. We could theoretically walk right through one of these solid objects because its atomic or molecular mass would be arranged differently from ours, rendering it completely invisible and undetectable to our human senses, although it could quite easily see us. Still further, could these strange portal creatures and objects be a creation of our own collective psyche? And if so, is it the cosmic plan for us to manage these creations, or life forms, in order to move humankind into higher levels of understanding? Or could it be that these strange forms are, in reality, much higher than us and are in their natural state? Could they be ones that we think of as angels, ascended masters, or gods? Do these entities marvel at how blind we are that they can cavort about right in our midst, and we don't see them or make any effort to understand them?
Yeah, it reminds me of a neutrino. We can see those, and they can still pass through everything in the area. And obviously, there's things that are not configured the same way. So again, you have a lot of space between atoms and even nucleus. And
right, we are mostly empty space.
And we prove that here every week at MLT,
especially in the head.
Yeah.
But no, it feeds right back in, and that's what this episode keeps coming around to for me, is the whole membrane theory, the M theory.
Yeah.
This is exactly talking about those overlaid membranes where we're actually taking up the same space, but in a different way, so as not to even interfere with each other's movements.
Which again could be a lot of what we're seeing during all these strange experiences that are reported from everywhere, from ourselves to our friends to our family to our extended family to anywhere that you drive around an Uber and you're getting more interviews just from people who get in the car with you.
Yeah. I got
this
a book. This whole episode came from an Uber ride.
Yeah, it came from an Uber ride. Yeah.
Thank you again, Kelly.
That was a great movie, by the way. It came from an Uber ride. I love that. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
It's a 50s movie. It came from an Uber ride. Oh, wait. The Uber didn't exist then.
Uber's
that's why
8 years
it's
old.
So cool.
12 years old.
That's why it's so cool.
Anywho, and here is another MLT-ish thought from Mr. Dongo. You ready?
Yep.
All paranormal phenomena are linked together by curious threads, and they need to be studied as a package. As far as I know, no government agency or high-level organization has ever conducted a serious, ongoing, thorough investigation and research of these subjects in combination. And if, by chance or design, some high-level organization has, then they are not telling us, the people, what they have found out. The Soviets, however, did do a serious study on UFOs. After a 10-year investigation, they arrived at the conclusion that UFOs are real. Especially considering that 3 of their best MiG fighters were shot down by UFOs in 3 separate incidents during this 10-year period. Around 1988, the Soviet military ordered a hands-off policy towards all UFOs flying in Soviet airspace. A uniformed Soviet colonel has stated this on film. And boom goes the dynamite. What do you think about that, Moss?
Well, I think that holds a lot more credibility until they're the Ukraine thing when I think they're just flying into the ground, not knowing it's not the sky. No offense, Russia. You guys but you know what I mean.
Did you just scully muggle that one? You're like, there were no UFOs. They're just terrible pilots and terrible planes.
Pilots. No, I do give some credibility to that. The Russians have come forward at different times, and I give them credit for doing so, because it's not easy to go that route, and they do at times. So some of our best information comes from them sometimes. So
there you go. But those couple of theories from Tom really do. If I was going to write my own serious theories, if I have to come up with reasons behind this, what I would give, those are really in line with it, man. The whole overlaid dimensions with, where the membranes actually touch opens the portals, or, where the thin spots are, some kind of connection between the membranes that all of a sudden there's a portal between them. It's just opening a door between dimensions, really.
And it also ties into some of my stuff that he's saying, because essentially he's saying to look at it as a gestalty kind of whole package.
Right.
I don't know if I talked about this already or not, because I never know I've recorded it yet, but Rosemary Ellen Guiley has the same complaint. Why are we so specialized? Why is there no overlap? Why are we always looking at these one little, we're pulling off the wing of the fly and just studying the wing of the fly instead of why don't we look at the whole David Hedison or Vincent Price, depending on the version you've seen.
We had two incidents in this episode where there was a picture with a Mogollon monster and a UFO in the same frame.
Mm-hmm.
And we act like they're totally disconnected events. Like they're constantly seen in conjunction, but they're approached like they're totally different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We need to fix that mindset, I think.
Yeah, and there's no overlap. There's no studying the package. We're looking at the parts of this thing.
Right.
And we're losing the focus. And I see that everywhere. I don't think what I think, because I'm reading more occult stuff and I'm finding out about more of the right brain side of things. I'm more of a patterns guy, and I don't know why people are always so perseverating on, yes, we've smashed this little thing. We're looking at the pieces. Well, what does it mean? And some of the right brainers are like, well, I can tell you what that means. It's Big Mama holding her baby and running away.
I'm so glad you saw that. Like they were saying a guy in a spacesuit, and I'm looking at it. They blow it up, and I'm looking at it like, that doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
And to me, in the raw image, it almost looks like a distant building in a way. But as soon as you said that, and I looked at it again, I'm like, oh my God, that's Big Mama with her baby.
Yeah.
Like that's what it looks like.
Yeah. And that's why I tell you, I saw that owl in that tree pop, and I'm telling you, I've never seen a more perfect rendition of an owl just pop while we were editing. Not something from the owl episode again, but that I see these patterns.
Because there's an owl in your brain, Moz.
Well, there's that.
You can't spell Moz without owl.
You can, really.
Not the O, anyway.
Really, you can.
Sorry, I'm transitioning into my Ahul Guano state. You ready?
I am ready.
Ahul Guano theory of the week.
Oh no, here it comes. Quick, to the batshit signal.
So this is our giant batshit theory of the week. Craziest stuff we can come up with in looking at what we're talking about today. So you said you had some Ahul Guano type stuff.
The only thing I can think of, and sometimes our Ahul Guano is actually really a serious, speculation of what this episode was about. This is not that. Sometimes they're just silly.
Sometimes they are just totally batshitty.
What happens if that big picture shows up in the sky, and then the military wants to change the channel, but then they think the remote fell behind the couch, and they get mad, and they're trying to change it. That's why all the helicopters show up, and they're like, we want to change the channel.
Yeah.
So that's all. It was really just an argument between dimensions about what to watch.
What if it's just like a new video game thing they made, and they threw the controller at the screen when they got mad, and that's what started the fire?
Yeah. No.
Closed the portal.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that's a variation of the
wow,
same
that's
thing.
even crazier than the actual theory I'm about to do.
Well, again, some of them have hints of truth, and that one does not.
Not that one.
That one.
That's the craziest thing I'll say all day right there. That made no sense at all. I do have a real, actual, written down Ahul Guano theory, though. You want to hear it?
I do.
This is just as silly in its way, but will at least be better presented.
How could it not be?
Let me get into this. It is theorized by Tom Dongo in Merging Dimensions that Sedona is just one of many such thin spots, portal-y type areas in the world. If the Sedona portals are a real thing, then it would only make sense that there would be more such places around. So, that makes sense. Like if it's a thing here, it's a thing somewhere else, right? That's just how things work. So I have a super baddie Ahuguano theory on the nature of these earthbound thin spots. It goes like this. Earth's major and minor portal sites are just jump points between the places these beings actually want to go, like an airport that gets nothing but layovers. And the only ones who stay are the ones who miss their connections and can't afford another flight.
Yeah.
Or they don't have the appropriate travel papers to complete their journey, so they get stuck on Earth like Tom Hanks got stuck in the airport in that movie Terminal. You know that one, Moss?
Yes.
I think Big Mama was just hanging around because she missed her connection.
But here's the thing. So you have O'Hara Airport. We're stuck on a layover.
Uh-huh.
Huge Mothman sightings around there. You have also these cryptids trying to get to other places and other dimensions. They get stuck at the same place.
Yeah.
So that's why Mothman's always seen around O'Hara Airport. He's waiting for the connecting flight.
Yeah. Did they build an actual human airport on the site of a interdimensional airport?
I'm just saying, membrane theory. I mean, you've got the same ley lines. You're doing the same things. The hub is in the same, a different dimension, same place.
It's one of those like node nexus point kind of places where like I bet in every dimension in that spot
there's
O'Hara
an
airport.
Yeah,
their
with
version of an airport.
terrible food and
everyone who
beer.
Everyone who goes there misses their connection.
Yeah,
every last one.
There's a Dick's Last Resort in there too, I think. Which
those things still exist?
I don't know, but they did
when I was there. Decades.
All right. Well, I'm just saying, I go back in time, man.
Yeah.
I think they're in every dimension, really. But that's my Ahuguano last resort.
There you go. It's like the restaurant, The End of the Universe, Dick's Last Resort.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. We've got this connection, though, we also just made of, like, if the military really did shut off this portal, I mean, that is why we moved to this area and we heard all about these lights in Sedona, but not just from the Bradshaw Ranch, from just people living here. See these blue lights. I heard blue lights when I first moved here.
Yep.
Blue lights in the sky. Go to Sedona, you'll see the blue lights.
Right.
If they actually shut it off, that is why. If this is correct, that is why. I
mean, that was one of supposedly three major portals in the area that they supposedly closed.
Right.
It did stop, like all activity stopped for a while. There have been flaps since then, but it's never been as
the same.
Like, it's never been as active as it was before that fire.
Yeah.
It's never been the same.
Yeah. Well, interesting.
Yeah. Kind of crazy, right?
Yep.
So let's swing it back around to the other side here with Sir Richard Scully Muggle's Skeptics Review.
You're full of crap, and that's the nicest thing that I can say.
So I'm going to give the skeptics their due on this one. I kind of try to bulldoze them sometimes because I don't like them very much. But on this one, I'm going to give them their due. And I will admit they have a lot to work with on this one. I'll point out some primary points of what would probably be the Scully Muggle argument. Just remember, this isn't me. This is them. Yeah. So my first point, the escalation of military operations happened in conjunction with the U.S. fighting a war in the Middle East. When all that, the Black Hawks and the big cargo planes and all that military activity that was going on in the area all of a sudden, this was happening during like Desert Storm and all that.
George
the
H.W.
90s
Bush.
Yeah. And northern Arizona was a perfect training ground for troops scheduled to go to the Middle East to places like Afghanistan, the high desert mountain type areas with all the canyons and everything. So this doesn't explain why they would be buzzing houses and ranches and causing all that trouble for the locals. Military training operations inherently do not include harassing private citizens like that.
Yeah.
But in general, it is an argument one could make for like their presence in the area in general.
But buying the land around it, very suspicious.
Sus. My next skeptic's point, Linda and Tom present a lot of pictures in their book. But things like the guy, which are pictures of a scalp, a leg, a hip of completely unidentifiable persons, well, just isn't going to convince even the humblest of scully muggles. You're not changing anyone's mind with that. You know what I mean? And kind of same with the blue man. Like, you looked at it, and I made you really look at it. And like, yeah, his ear looks weird, but that could just be cauliflowering. I mentioned before. And the blue hair in the 90s wasn't really that uncommon. And who is to say, other than those presenting the evidence, that this isn't just some cousin visiting from out of town or something? You have to take their word that this person wasn't there.
It is odd. It looks like just a person. Like, if you look at it closely, it's an odd picture, but not really.
Right.
At the same time.
You got to start like
picking it apart,
purposefully looking for the strangeness.
Yeah.
So this isn't my belief, but it is definitely an argument a Sir Richard Smelly Butt Scully Muggle might make. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to give him one more point for the skeptics here. There are more, but I'm just going to do one more because I can't give them too much in one episode. This is one that actually does bother me a bit, which is why I wanted to include it. In this book, originally printed in 1995, so just about 30 years ago, there is much mention of all the video evidence gathered by Victor Bradshaw during the years-long investigation they undertook in the canyon lands outside Sedona. Throughout the book, Linda repeats that there will be a documentary-style movie forthcoming. Yet here we are, nearly 30 years later, and none of this video has ever made it in front of public eyes. With the way the government swept in and swept it all under the rug, the first thought is that the videos were all confiscated and destroyed as part of the typical Black Ops procedure. This is a relevant hypothesis, but regardless, no evidence, no proof, and Scully Muggles aren't jumping on this crazy train with us without some solid proof. And so where's the video, man?
Yeah.
You know?
Show us the video.
Yeah, and the fact we never got any follow-up, really. And the book does have... There's an extra chapter now. The new printing. Tom Dongo added a chapter at the end in 2019.
No, I know. He's been on Coast to Coast AM. That's the only thing I know about this. I think he was on Coast to Coast AM recently.
Yeah.
The old business that. But.
So he's still around. He's still talking about it, but no mention of the video.
No mention of eating babies.
Tom Dongo stole my baby. Good thing you're not a horse, or Tom Dongo might be up in your business. Anything to add here before we move on to the pièce de résistance?
Oh, let's do it.
Wolfman Puck's Cryptid Culinary Corner.
Your entree, sir. Smells good.
In their time on the ranch, the Bradshaws found many strange tracks in the area. Tracks that they could not for the life of them connect to any known critter. This is a two-step Wolfman Pucks. This is a little different than what we usually do. So if you need to describe...
So an entree and a dessert?
Well, you need to describe what one of these creatures might look like. Like if you set a trap out there and actually caught one, you need to describe the critter that you have caught and then describe how you would serve them to the other cryptids around the area who are hungry.
I know you always say serve it to the cryptids. I know that's your version of this, but we're just making a nice entree for
Maz eats it himself.
Ever may enjoy it, is all I'm saying.
Well, in the first
You're being culinarily phobic.
Early on in season 1, you had me eating like basically people.
Well, because we did a lot of skin
walker
stuff.
Yeah.
And that got weird.
Yeah.
Immediately. Like that was, episode 2.
Yeah.
3. 4.
3, 4.
3, 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anywho. But you ready? Go. What's your critter and how would you prepare
I have to try to catch it. Okay, so I'm going to catch...
Well, let's say you caught it.
Okay.
But you have to describe what you just caught.
Right.
And then how would you serve it?
Okay. So I caught something that is just this incredible ball of light trying to become something, blowing off all this energy, and I am just going to, like, almost Ghostbustery, keep it into one little area, cook a hot dog on it, because it's giving off a lot of energy, and just wash it down with an Oak Creek Brewing Company brown ale. Which is,
Brown ale?
Well, the Pullman Port as well. I think Oak Creek Brewing doesn't do the IPAs very well. They do the maltier ones well, like the Pullman Porter and the Oak and the brown ale are better. They also have a very good Hefe and a Saison seasonal, but they're not really good at the IPAs. So I'm gonna And I'm surprised you don't. Do you like the porter at Oak Creek Brewing
I
Company?
usually drink their, what is it, the Kolsch? Or the Gold? They have one of those light golden beers like that. I think it's the Kolsch.
Golden beers. Ho, ho, ho. No, I don't understand you. You usually go for like a darker beer. The Pullman Porter is a very nice porter.
Usually. Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, but usually when I'm in Sedona and I'm like actually going to the brewery to get a beer, I've just like done a hike in the sun.
Oh, so
That is not a time for a
Yeah.
beer you can't see through. You go for the Kolsch or the Blonde or something at that point. You know
Well,
what I mean?
here's a little secret if you're in Sedona. Go to the west side one, which is off of the Teapot, on that western.
Right.
There's a little patio, and it's just sit back out there. and
The actual
drink
tap
it.
room.
The actual tap room.
That's where they brew the beer.
Correct.
There's another location in Tlaquepaque, which is really nice too, actually, if you can sit on the little patio.
That is the restaurant side.
Right.
And I like the west side one and just hanging out with a good brewski.
If you just want beer, you go to the brewery space on the west side. But
Yes.
if you want some fried pickles with your beer,
Ooh.
the place at the location at Tlaquepaque, some of the best fried pickles I've ever had, actually.
Wow.
Super good fried pickles.
Nice. I like Tlaquepaque, but both are nice depending on what you're looking for.
There you go.
Yep.
So I'm going to set my trap.
With
And
fried pickles.
I'm going to catch man bear pig, and I am going to serve man bear pig steaks with fried pickles.
What? Is that like long pig? Like
Man bear pig?
Man bear pig.
You don't know man bear pig?
What the hell is man bear?
I know you watch South Park.
Oh, man bear pig.
Because I'm pretty sure he came through a portal.
Yeah. No. Don't. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like long pork.
Yeah. That's what I was
Oh,
going
wait.
for.
Well, I can't eat it because there's bear in it. But I'm not
Yeah.
eating it anyway. I'm serving it to the aliens. The reptilians and the greys would love some man bear pig steaks with some fried pickles from Oak Creek Brewery.
Wow. What beer would you? Oh, you're going to do the golden Kolsch thing.
Actually, what would be the most powerful of the portal areas after they closed the one on Secret Mountain would be over in the Boynton Canyon area, which is adjacent to Mezcal Valley there, because there's so much agave.
So you're doing tequila?
We're drinking tequila with the man bear pig steaks and the fried pickles. Yeah.
Wow.
Tequila.
All right.
Yeah.
You
Preferably Adictivo Extra Añejo tequila.
You're an extra bendejo.
Yeah.
But no, you won that round.
Man, now I want the steak and some tequila.
You had me from the fried pickles, honestly.
Oh, the fried pickles. My mouth's like watering from the thought of the fried pickles. They're so good.
No, I do like the food there. I would still recommend if you come into town, go to the West Side one, sit in the patio.
Yeah, that patio area is awesome.
It's just awesome.
Yeah, it really is.
Life-changing, really.
And it's always nice to go to the original spot rather than the, second location.
No, I say life-changing because I hung out there so much I did lose my job.
Ah, yeah, that'll do it. All right. Well, do you have anything to add or subvert before I close it up here, Moss?
I do not.
All right. Well, I'm going to actually finish this one like we started with a quote from Merging Dimensions from Linda Bradshaw. Leave us off on a proper note here. I find the portal both fascinating and humbling. It becomes a juggling act as one becomes aware of the invisible mysteries that encompass our very space, while also acknowledging the necessity to remain grounded in the obvious. I say necessity because many have been carried away in this knowledge and veered so far to the extremes that they can no longer function in either world. I choose to anchor myself in this realm, which is home for now, but I still realize that I am a part of all that is going on, both seen and unseen.
That hits home.
Yeah.
Because I can't function in either world.
Yeah. Check us out at patreon.com/monsterlore tour. Join for just $1 a month if you want to support the show. If not, just hit some of those happy fun buttons on the way out, like subscribe, share, all that. Hit that auto download so you never miss a round with the Monster Lore Tour, and we will see you next week. Thanks everybody for coming.
Damn, I gotta get a job.
To all my fellow paranerdalists out there, have a good one.
Monster Lore Tour.
It's sort of.
I'm just. I want to say,